What's up, guys? Mason the Brock Henderson here, and this is Soap Opera Girl, Season 3, Episode 6, Midvale. Yes, going back to calling it that, because that's frankly what it is right now. So yeah, let's talk about this obligatory flashback episode, just kind of out of nowhere, don't really know why it's here. Frankly, if I'm being 100% honest, this episode on its own, not bad. The acting wasn't bad, the little mystery that they had in there, none of that was really bad, and no, this shirt is not sarcasm. It's just, this is the theater troupe I work for. But no, I mean, this episode wasn't that bad. But it doesn't fit at all with the story that's going on right now. You know, that's what's so stupid about it, is that this flashback episode could have worked under the right circumstances. You know, if maybe Supergirl, maybe she's lost her powers, or maybe they're struggling with their sister relationship, you know, they're struggling to deal with each other. Maybe a case just went horribly wrong. They were working together because they were fighting and arguing. But no, what just happened? Morgan Edge poisoned some kids, killed a man, and got away with it. Maggie just got dumped by Alex. And for some reason they feel the need to, hey, let's go ahead and take a trip down memory lane. Let's do a flashback episode here because that's what we need right now. We need to work on their relationship as sisters because, I mean, couldn't you guys tell that they were clearly arguing before? I mean, couldn't you see the friction between the two? Whenever, you know, Alex was breaking up with Maggie and Supergirl was dealing with Morgan Edge. I mean, couldn't you tell that they were dealing with problems as a sister relationship? You couldn't see that at all? How could you not see? There's no reason for it. They just randomly throw in this forced argument between the two of them, and now we have a flashback episode which helps them work on the relationship as sisters, even though there was no clear problem with it at all before. It just sort of happens now because that's what this episode calls for. And that's what's so terrible about this show. They will write in whatever they want to fit that episode. Oh, we need to write an episode about dealing with breakups. Well, let's have Maggie and Alex break up out of nowhere. Oh, we need to have an episode where Alex and Kara had to work in their relationship as sisters. Well, let's write an argument at the beginning of this episode, even though they've not really had any problems at all this season beforehand. You know, it just write up whatever. Even Supergirl's powers. Yeah, just write in whatever you want for her powers. Oh, she can't breathe in outer space. Apparently not. Oh, she can't breathe underwater. Apparently not. You know, just write in whatever powers you want to. Kryptonite, now it can officially hurt her. It doesn't just take away her powers. She is actually physically not able to do anything. Not even stand. That's how powerful Kryptonite is now. Like, just write in whatever the hell you want because who cares? Who cares anymore? We're getting paid for this. Nobody out there that's watching the show, you're not getting paid to watch this, so we can write whatever we want because we get paid for this. That's all that matters. And that's what's so bad about this episode. So let's talk about it piece by piece, because even though this, like I said, the flashback part of this episode was good, but there are still some problems with it. So we see almost kind of like, it's almost like they were making a joke about it. We see, you know, starts off with Kara and Alex in the present day, and they're arguing for some reason just out of nowhere, like I said, because that's what this episode calls for. But they're arguing, and then they go to sleep, and then flashback 10 years ago when they're still in high school, and they wake up and they're acting just like they were in present day. And I almost took it as like a joke, like, hey guys, look, your two adult protagonists are acting like they did 10 years ago when they were still in high school. Like, that's kind of what I felt like they were trying to tell me here, is that they're acting childish. And it sort of made sense. And this is where I kind of, like, is this episode actually going to be kind of good? You know, as far as, like, the flashback goes? But randomly we meet this one kid, his name's Kenny. He's really good friends with Kara, and he seems to know Alex, but Alex is sort of ignoring him because she's friends with all the popular kids. You know, she's sitting at the table with the high school quarterback and, you know, the popular girls and all that stuff. So, of course, we have to have some bullying going on. So the main star quarterback is, like, picking on Kenny, you know, pushing him into the ground. Hey, you eat your food, don't eat your crate. Because, you know, high school was like that. You know, there were a ton of jocks just everywhere, just pounding kids in the ground and nobody reacting at all. You know, teachers weren't even there. What are you talking about? You didn't go to high school? You didn't see all this stuff? Just more cliches. So anyway, Kenny apparently is very good friends with Kara. They're talking about some stuff. He says, they wouldn't pick on me if they knew what I knew. It seems that he has some information on him. Well, the next day he turns up dead. And so this is where the first problem came in, because why turn it into a murder mystery? Why do you need that in this episode? What does that bring? It kind of feels sort of forced and out of nowhere. It's like, oh yeah, guys, Kenny died. He's dead. It's a murder mystery now. Now we gotta solve the mystery to find out who done it. Why, though? What does that bring anything extra? Not really. It doesn't add anything to the story. It's just something for them to go through in this episode. And I just feel like you could have done something different. You could have, I don't know, you could have had Kara doing something to, like, fight off maybe some people who were terrorizing the neighborhood or something. Like, do something with her powers, but instead it just turns into they're trying to solve the mystery. At one point she saves Alex and then is told not to use her powers, and then she uses her powers to stop the actual killer. And that's it. It had nothing else to do with Kara and her powers. So I don't know, it just felt sort of weird that they turned it into a murder mystery. But one of the other problems I do have with this as well is that when we get to high school, once again, very clearly showing that the writers of this show know how high schoolers think. You've got kids, Kara's hearing all these voices. You got some kids like, ooh, what if he was killed by a serial killer? Hey, that would be pretty cool. Because, when your classmate dies, you're just like, dude, I want to know if he was killed by a serial killer, man. And then the jock's just like, oh my gosh, they killed Kenny. Because, the kids, the little kids and 10-year-old girls that watch this show know South Park references, right? I mean, they know exactly what South Park is. They watch it all the time. So, of course, let's make a South Park reference and make fun of the fact that a kid was killed and murdered last night. That makes sense. That is how high schoolers act all the time. I remember when one of my classmates died when I was in high school. I mean, I was cracking up. I was making jokes with everybody. I didn't, he and I didn't really get along that much. I knew him, but not really. So, of course, I was just joking around. No. My God, it's like these writers don't know how reality works. When somebody dies, if you knew them, it doesn't matter how you felt about them. If you knew them, it's upsetting. You don't just make jokes about it unless you're a psychopath. And I'm sure that none of these high schoolers are psychopaths. Except for maybe the girl that was with the teacher, but she's a different story. She didn't say anything about Kenny. It was just the jocks and this random people that were talking about, ooh, serial killers are cool, man. So anyway, Kara hears that from the jock, oh my gosh, they killed Kenny, and then gets upset, throws him against the locker, questions him, but he has an alibi for the night, so clearly he didn't do it. Like I said, they come to find out about this girl who was apparently hooking up with a teacher at the school, and so they think, well, maybe the teacher did it because Kenny had pictures of him. But a car tries to run him off the road, and then they find out that apparently the teacher has an alibi for that, so maybe it wasn't him. And then Alex goes to a football game, and she's talking to the sheriff. I'm like, oh, I guess he did it then. And sure enough, she's talking to him. He's like, you guys are really good detectives. Come on with me. We're gonna go talk to each other about this in private where nobody can hear us because that's normal. So Alex, yeah, she just goes along with it. Kara finally gets some pictures right in the nick of time showing that apparently he was dealing drugs to people. They even take time to give us his motive because he felt like he wasn't getting paid enough and he had to burn all these drugs that he was getting from Canada. I don't know, like apparently he was catching people trying to smuggle them across the border or something. And so he's supposed to burn them, but instead he's like, oh, I'm going to make some money off this. And so that's why he did what he did. Because, the motive was so important in this case. I was like, what are you going to tell me the motive? I want to know exactly why this cop smuggled drugs and killed this kid. I want to know. And that's the problem with this. That's why to make it a murder mystery doesn't make any sense because I don't care. I don't care about this kid that was just killed. I don't care about this cop why did he kill him? I don't care. Why did he smuggle drugs? I don't care. I don't care about any of these characters. The only two characters I know are Alex and Maggie. Not Maggie, sorry. I'm so used to putting them together in the same sentence because that's what the show's done. The two characters I care about are Kara and Alex. That's all I care about. And so to try to force these other characters in and try to force me to care about their reasoning and why they did what they did and this one kid that got killed, it's just like you're trying to force this on us and it's not really working. To force emotion on people normally doesn't work out in the end. So, yeah, I don't know. kind of weird that they decided to do all of this, but ultimately Kara shows up just in the nick of time, despite being told not to use her powers by a woman who looks surprisingly like her mom, because in the end it turns out John Jones is there and he transformed into an FBI agent that looks exactly like her mom. Don't ask me why, because it's never explained, because who cares about logic and reasoning in this show, aside from the fact that we spent like 3 minutes on this sheriff's reasoning for why he killed the kid and why he smuggled the drugs. We'll explain all of that because we know that's what's important to you guys. But John showing up randomly to Kara as her mom and saying, hey, don't use your powers, that's never explained. Like, the only thing I can think of is that he didn't want her to use her powers, which makes sense, but I don't know why he showed up as her mom. I don't know why he showed up as an FBI. Why couldn't he just show up as, like, I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, why would you show up at all and try to do that? It just didn't work. Like, what was the point of that? It led to nothing. It led to she doesn't want to use her powers, and then she does whenever Alex is in danger. Well, then what was the point of the scene? That's the problem with the show. There are so many things that are pointless. And this was another episode that felt pointless. In the end, what do? They solved the case. They managed to sort of reconcile and realize that they're going to be sisters and they're going to be happy together. And then they wake up in the present day, remember that story, and remember, hey, we can be sisters, we can be happy together. And then they have to go back to the EO. Probably because some alien attacked and Supergirl wasn't there to stop it, because Maggie needed to get over her broken marriage that we obviously cared so much about. Guys, there's no other way to put it. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This show is garbage. And I know that. And the only reason I'm reviewing it right now is because, one, like I said before, it ties in with the Arrowverse, and two, somebody needs to talk about it. Nobody wants to talk about the show. They just want to look at the fact that, oh, it's all about feminism, and it's all about, homosexual relationships, and it's all about empowering those people, and we gotta like that because that's what America's about. I'm sorry, that's not what I want to watch in a Supergirl show. When I tune in to see any type of superhero show, I don't want to watch all of this political mumbo-jumbo that you just want to throw in there so you can get your political opinion out there and stick it to all those conservatives that want to hinder all these, gay relationships and hinder women's rights. Who cares? You're just a TV show. It's not like anybody's going to watch this and be like, you know what? Because Supergirl's talking about feminism, and I've never been a feminist my entire life, all of a sudden I'm going to be a feminist now. Nobody's going to do that. If they don't agree with what you believe, watching this show is not going to get them to believe that. I'm sorry to sort of spoil your reality, but that's the truth of it. And so I'm looking at the show not as, a political agenda. I'm looking at it, how is it as a show? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't connect very well. None of the characters are that likable. A lot of them are just bland characters. The only thing that's good in the show is the acting. And that's it. Nothing else in the show works. Not as a superhero show, hardly as a drama, but honestly, they're trying to play it up like a big soap opera drama. Oh, we got to focus on the relationships. Oh, we got to focus on, connection and all of that stuff. Who cares about the action? Who cares about trying to stop the bad guys? No, we need to focus on the relationships. That's the only thing that's important. And that leads to a crappy superhero show. So, those are my opinions. Let me know what you think down in the comment section below. What were your thoughts on this episode? Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Supergirl reviews. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.